Good morning. Welcome to the conversation on TOS TV Network, your digital first Pan-African network. And guess what? We're already 15 days into the month of March. Halfway already. I hope you've been making proper use, even putting things into the month. All right. Before we kickstart the show, allow us to bring you the quote of the day. But before that, I am Adesu Elsie.
And I am Merciful Ajinomo. Good morning.
All right. We're going to bring you the quote of the day right now. Yeah, that was a proverb from one of the major ethnic groups here in Nigeria, the Yoruba, Western Nigeria, and saying when you will sit when you're old, shows where you stood in youth. I think basically just saying make hay while the sun shines, right? Okay, having said all of that, we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we're going to be taking you through developments across Africa. Welcome back. If you're just joining, it's still the conversation on TOS TV Network, and we're moving straight into development across Africa. Starting with the African Development Bank, being named the world's best multilateral financial institution in 2021 by, the Global Finance. The prestigious U.S. magazine Global Finance, specializing in financial market and investment banking, has named the AFDB, that's the African Development Bank, as the best multilateral financial institution in the world for 2021. The award is a global recognition for the path-breaking efforts of the African Development Bank as it transforms itself into a solution bank for Africa through a combination of its operations, knowledge, services, and investment positionings, which continue to help accelerate Africa's development. The award is an affirmation of the success of the operational strategy being pursued by the AFDB under the leadership of Akinwumi Adesina, who was unanimously re-elected to a second consecutive 5-year term as president of the institution last year. Congratulations to the AFDB. Quite excited about that because over time we've had AFDB has really been very instrumental to lots of development strategies
Nigeria,
and not just in Nigeria, in Africa basically, especially agriculture and stuff like that. Yeah, and
so it's a big win for us.
Yeah, it's a big win for them.
All right, moving on to security. Islamic State-aligned jihadists ambushed a Nigerian military convoy, killing 15 soldiers and 4 militia fighters in the northeastern state of Borno, security sources said on Saturday. The convoy came under heavy attack from Islamic State West Africa province fighters near Gudumbali in the Lake Chad region on Thursday, the sources said. And the attack was the latest in a jihadist conflict which has killed 36,000 people and displaced hundreds of thousands in northeast Nigeria since it began more than a decade ago. We lost 15 soldiers and 4 civilian JTF in the terrorist ambush in the forest near Gudumbali, a military officer who asked not to be identified told AFP. He said 13 government fighters, including 10 troops, were wounded in the ambush, and the 10-vehicle convoy was on its way to Gudumbali from the town of Kukawa for a military operation against the insurgents when it came under fire, said another military sources who gave the same toll.
And that was Nigerian though, like Niger Republic, not Nigeria.
Not Nigeria.
Not Nigeria. People always say
because
because of the spelling, but it's I think you could easily actually just say Nigerian because the situation is similar both here. The insurgency and the insecurity situation is almost similar to what's happening here in Nigeria we experience, and I think it's cutting across Africa, and it's pathetic to see that the issue of insecurity is across major African countries. That's quite sad, and I hope something is literally done about that pretty soon. All right, moving over to Kenya. Kenyans groan as prices of fuel price rise again. Consumers will pay more for fuel from March 15th, that's today, to April, following an increase in the prices of super petrol, diesel, and kerosene. The prices of super petrol, diesel, and kerosene have all increased significantly in the last review by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. In a statement on Sunday, the EPRA Acting Director General Daniel Bagoria said the cost of a litre of super petrol, diesel, and kerosene rose by 7.63 shillings, 5.7 shillings, and 5.41 shillings per litre, respectively. The new prices take effect on Monday and will remain until the next review on April 14. In Nairobi, a litre of petrol will retail at 122.81 shilling, diesel at 107.66 shilling, and kerosene at 97.85 shillings. In Mombasa, the three products will cost 120.41 shillings, 105.27 shillings, and 95.46 shillings, respectively, while in Kisumu, motorists will pay 123.36 shillings, 108.46 shillings, and 98.68 shillings, respectively. Talking about full price, you know, when I saw this story, I literally just said, oh yeah, like it's just an offshoot of what we're seeing in Nigeria, because I think for the past 2-3 days we've been crying about, you know, the increase in fuel price in Nigeria. If you go to petrol station, the queues are long, and some of them are not even, you know, open. It's crazy. I tried to get to work this morning and I couldn't get a cab because there were no cabs on the road.
It's beginning to feel
I couldn't get a ride, yeah, because like I think a bit figure that basically it's either they don't have fuel in their cars or they are queuing at the fuel station to get fuel, which is quite crazy. And they were saying that same thing is happening in Kenya.
Like I'm saying, it's beginning to feel like the main subject matters, you know, that we come to the morning, you know, to the morning show to discuss every day is cutting across all other countries in Africa as well. So I think, you know, the energy, strategy, tactics should be channeled towards this thing so we can solve them as soon as possible.
Exactly.
So moving on to AstraZeneca, you know, COVID-19 pandemic update. AstraZeneca seeks evidence for claims of thrombosis after vaccination following the delivery of the Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine in Nigeria. Experts in public health space in the country have assured citizens of the safety and efficacy of the vaccine choice imported by the government. According to a statement by the country's health minister, Dr. Osagi Ehanire, the delivery of the AstraZeneca vaccine was a blessing, noting that it is a feeling of relief and elation that at last we are joining the community of nations who can vaccinate their citizens against COVID-19 disease, which has been raging across the world. We have to some extent lagged, but are relieved that we can now start vaccinating our citizens, the minister stated. Nigeria received 3.92 million doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine on the 2nd of March 2021, shipped via the COVAX facility, a partnership between CEPI, Gavi, UNICEF, and WHO. The consignment for Nigeria made it the third country in West Africa after Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire to receive the vaccines. Understandably, partners in the forefront of COVID-19 response echoed the minister's excitement.
Well, this is, I understand why people will be concerned, because approximately 9 countries have halted the use of, you know, the AstraZeneca vaccine, and you know, because of the issue of thrombosis, that's blood clot.
Blood clot, yeah.
You understand? And then, so it's okay, really, to say, oh, I want to know how safe this really is, because if the UK, Europe, South Africa, you know, are saying we can't use this vaccine because aside from the fact that it's almost not effective or as effective as we want it to be, we're still experiencing blood clots, right? And I think that's why over time on the show I've said that the safety of these vaccines should be proven beyond reasonable doubt before, you know, being rolled out. But again, the vaccination has already started. People have already taken vaccine, and quite a number of them are okay.
But then again, it's not all the countries in Europe that have halted the process.
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
it means to an extent there's you know, success
exactly
in the vaccination, because if we're having an issue where everyone is known, they're not 100% sure that this is something, the efficacy is being questioned, then it's to cut across all the countries, all borders, every state that's administering the vaccination. But then if there are people who are still continuing with the process, if there are professionals in the medical, you know, field who are still saying, look, this is still working, and people are still taking it day in, day out, then there is still some sort of, you know, efficacy. But
yes,
it's nobody's fault, yeah, if people are saying they don't want to take it, because of course there are, you know, rumors. And you know, we said on the show the other day that sometimes this vaccination, they may not be 100% effective. So if we're looking for some sort of, you know, preventive measure is better safe than sorry. Yeah?
Exactly. So that's why I said it's better for the vaccination to be tested. I mean, if it's not effective in one country, Europe, and it's effective in another part of the country, then bringing it back here. We're not Europeans, we're Africans or Nigerians. The system is different.
Yeah,
you know, everything. I'm different. If you're European and I'm Nigerian, my system is different from yours.
Yeah.
So it should be tested. You know, the efficiency of it and the safety of it should be tested on Nigerians. Or I don't know how that works. How they do, you know, the testing on humans, but they should do that first and then say, okay, it is very effective, even though there are side effects. But blood clots isn't one of them, because blood clot is kind of dangerous. So
it is actually,
and all of that, and then like, okay, you can take the vaccines, because if you're asking people to come and take vaccines and they're worried that I might get this if I take this vaccine, then the success of the vaccination is in question.
But again, let's look at a holistic view of this whole, you know, theories and, you know, opinions by some of the top politicians and, you know, like top people in the Nigerian government. A senator came online one day to say, look, this vaccine is not 100%, it's not efficient, it's the lowest, you know. And people came to Twitter and tweeted, why is this happening? But again, the federal government is saying, look, this is one of the best. So what then? How do we test who is saying the truth and who is lying? And we can't use human lives to, you know, test whether this is true or this is wrong.
Well, it's not fatal and it's not that deadly, I think. So, well, we're not experts on this matter, so we're just letting lie. All right, talking about COVID-19, we're going to go on a break, and going on that break is to bring you, you know, a COVID-19 update from across Africa.
TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
Being a journalist means in-depth analysis that unravels hidden truths, that question the status quo and fact-checks government.
These criminal elements hiding under the cloak of surveillance contractors are the APC elements.
Do you have facts to prove that? Being a journalist means waking up every day with a burning desire for peace, equity, and justice for all citizens.
We're being told that the choice you have is to take the lesser of two evils.
It means patriotism via the prism of objectivity and accountability. It means giving my platform to the masses to discuss issues that matter to them.
Some of them, if they bring budget and the budget they look, some of them sleep. They're going to ask how much you are on. I have it.
Thereby shaping government policies and laws. My name is Osasu Ignaneja, and I am the People's Journalist.
Welcome back. That was COVID-19 update from across Africa, and I would not get tired of telling you to take precautions, because you know we have to beat COVID in 2021. We cannot enter 2022 still worrying about COVID. So if your country has started rolling out vaccines, get vaccinated, right? And if your country hasn't started, or if your state has not started, if you're here in Nigeria, protect yourself, wear your face mask, and take every necessary precaution that has been laid out or rolled out, for the prevention of COVID-19. And don't forget that the use of face mask has been made mandatory here in Nigeria. It's a criminal offense if you don't wear one in public. So do all of what's necessary. All right, moving away from that into, we're going to go on a break. And when we come back, we'll be taking you through what the newspaper headlines are saying this morning. Welcome back. Moving straight into newspaper headlines for this morning, starting with the Blueprint newspaper. And I'm going to start from the very top right there. The first one says, Serap to court on 895 billion naira. Stop federal government borrowing from Nigerians' account. That story is on page 6. Underneath that, Benue police arrest suspected killer of Angaya. That story is on page 7. On page 26, still on the top of the Blueprint newspaper, we have 42 billion naira debt. Federal government direct MNOs to stay action on planned USSD suspension. This one happened in Ogun State. Wife arrested for pouring hot water on husband. That story is on page 13. Now moving to the very gaping headline on the Blueprint newspaper. On banditry, gun drill as soldiers fought another attack on Kaduna Airport. 4 riders under that. The first one, secure 307 students of GSS Ikara. 6 members of same family slain in Osun State. Police killed 2 kidnappers in Abuja. Then the last rider says Christian leaders suggest way out of insecurity. All of that you can find on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Now the last headline on the Blueprint newspaper, which you can find on page 7, prosecute governors, private employers for not paying minimum wage, and that's coming from Aremu. All of these stories you can find on the Blueprint newspaper if you get yourself a copy of the Blueprint newspaper today.
And we move on to the national economy, and we'll begin from the very top headline story that we can find on top of the newspaper. Relief for budget funding as federal government intensifies privatization plan. That can be found in the national economy. And we'll move on to the very obvious story. Cloning of ticket at port exposes racket fueling gridlock. That can be found on page 4 of the national newspaper. And we go on to the bottom. Telcos commence withdrawal of USSD services today. That story can be found on page 4. And side by side, the Senate queries AGF over non-disclosure of federal government 57.6 billion naira grant to beneficiaries. You can find the story on page 5. And underneath, we have AFDB saying 39 million Africans risk extreme poverty in 2021. All the stories can be found on the national economy.
Moving away from the national economy to the Daily Times, starting from the very top as well. Kaduna abduction. Buhari vows to safeguard school system. Lord's military response. That story is on page 3 of the Daily Times. Now moving to the very gaping headline on the Daily Times. Federal government averts economic crisis amid banks, telecom companies feud. That story is on page 2. On the issue of insecurity, end of insurgency in sight, says Chief of Army Staff. That is also on page 2 of the Daily Times. Beside it, criminality, no more amnesty, negotiation with criminals in Benue, Governor Trump vows. That story is on page 5. And then the last headline on the Daily Times this morning, COVID-19 vaccination. COVID-19, 70% of Nigerians must be vaccinated to declare country safe. That story is also on page 2 of the Daily Times. All of that story you can find, all of those stories you can find on the Daily Times newspaper.
And moving over to the Leadership newspaper, I'll begin from the very top as well. More banks plan to float insurance subsidiaries. That can be found on the Leadership newspaper. And we have a few stories underneath. Burna Boy, Wizkid win Grammy Awards. That can be found on the Leadership newspaper as well. And side by side, we underestimated responses to our registration exercise, says APC. And then we move on to the very gaping headline. Textile firms comatose despite 220 billion naira intervention fund. That story can be found on page 7. And right underneath, as closed firms didn't get the money, loan conditions were not favorable, says union. That can also be found on the Leadership newspaper for today.
All right, the last newspaper we're going to be looking at this morning is the Guardian newspaper, starting with the very obvious headline on the Guardian. Transparency concerns dog proposed sale of refineries. The rider under that, the couple BPE from mainstream bureaucracy, says Yusuf. And then under that, that's under the picture of the day, suspense as telcos await minister's stance before switching off bank USSD service. Experts say sector's regulation on its knees and will impact investment negatively. MNOs want banks to come up with repayment plans. Just beside that, another strike looms over on page 10-month salary as once. That story is on page 3. Terrorists killed 1, abduct 6 in Niger community. You can find that news on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. On page 9 of the Guardian newspaper, avoid conflicts with South governors over NDDC, Akpabio warned. And then the last one, still on page, that's on page 13. Rainstorm wreaks havoc, blows off 200 houses in Ekiti. All of those stories you can find on the Guardian newspaper. Now, before we move over to the next segment, 2, headlines caught my eyes. The first one, is the suspension of USSD by banks, and I know USSD are the short codes you just you easily just use on your phone to make banking very easy. If that is suspended, I'm wondering what the implication will be on users, end users like us. Does that mean we'll now have to go back to the bank and have those long queues just to do something we could actually have just done?
I think they're trying to leverage the usage of the mobile banking apps, so people don't. Actually, the USSD was actually more easy.
It's easier
to use because you can just be at the comfort of your home without being connected to an internet. You just dial the number and everything.
Exactly.
But if you were going to be scraping this out, this is to encourage to an extent. I don't know what their main plan is, but I think coming from their perspective can be to encourage people, to use the mobile apps.
But the mobile apps are not even as efficient because, as I said, internet issues, number one. Sometimes they have maintenance issues. It's quite a lot of, back and forth. And I think the ripple effect is still what's going to have long queues.
But let's see how it goes. Let's see if it's something that, of course, if we don't like it, you trust us, you trust Nigerians to come to internet and say, look,
but if there's a defect in the banking system as a result of the USST, I don't think it matters whatever we say anyways. I think they're just,
at the end of the day,
they're going to do it. And another one is the rainstorm that wreaked havoc in Ekiti, blowing off 2 houses, and I'm like, in just how many days? Because I know we've been praying for rainfall because of the heat wave. Like, it was really hot, and then the rain came, and then it's wreaking havoc, and I'm like, why did you have to do that?
So I will not blame the rain. I will blame the builders of the houses, the kind of building materials they've used and everything. But then again, there's all called natural disasters.
Okay, because sometimes I've seen houses that were well built that got, the roofs got taken out by, wind and rainstorms. Sometimes I don't think it's actually.
So we should stop praying for rain. We should say, okay, if we were praying for rain, let's just be small rain. Just give it small rain or something.
I don't know if it's small rain, but not heavy rainfall that will actually, blow up your houses. I know we cannot actually just dictate this thing, so I'll just let it lie. All right, that's so much we can take on the newspaper headline for this morning. We're going to be going on a break now, and when we come back, I'll be taking you through what's trending on social media. Welcome back. Don't forget you can be a part of the conversation by following TOS TV Network across social media platforms. That's TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and including YouTube. And also check out our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Talking about social media, so every time, every day, some topic of discussion finds its way to the top of the trend table, especially on Twitter, and it gets lots of people talking. And guess what has been trending in the last 24 hours? Pray for Nigeria. Now, the Pray for Nigeria hashtag was trending on social media, on Twitter, basically, and it's sort of two divides. Some people were of the opinion that, oh, Nigeria needs prayer at this point, and there were people that were of the opinion that, what are you guys talking about? Prayer isn't going to do anything. Prayer isn't what we need in Nigeria. So I'm going to read out a few tweets, to that regard. The first one is from @scad_official. I laugh when I hear religious leaders say, pray for Nigeria. The solution to Nigeria's problems isn't prayers. And then the second one is from Kazim Oyetunde 3. You say pray for Nigeria. For how long? Don't pray. Act. If you had a flat tire when traveling, will you pray? Act by putting in the spare and move on. Stop wasting your prayers on useless things. It annoys God. Okay. And then this one is from @Facial Graphics. How can you say pray for Nigeria? Don't you have sense at all? Don't you have future yourselves and your kids? I was expecting something like constitutional reform to be trending. Then use prayer as well for you people need. All the prayers you guys have been doing, what's the effect? And then this last one is from Namdi Chike. Or the second to the last one. He says, pray for Nigeria and laugh my visible off. A praying nation is a failed nation. Okay. And then the last one is from 90s Sophie. As we strive for a better Nigeria, pray for Nigeria too. This her, what has been. I would like to get your opinion, Merciful, on this one. What do you think Nigeria needs? Who are you on this side of the divide that says Nigeria needs prayer, or are you on this side that says prayer isn't what we need, we should act? Or you are with the last person that says, as well, working, we should be praying as well.
So obviously, we see a group of people who are frustrated by the things they come to see every day, by the things happening in their society, in their environment. This group of people, this reasonable group of people are seeing ways forward that, people can work with and bring about results. But then again, why are you talking about pray for Nigeria when we are seeing this is what is just like a cause and effect thing, Do this together. It's as simple as that. We have society that are working, we have countries that are working based on structures, organized, planned process of actions. But we are here and we're saying, I'm talking for this side now. We are saying pray for Nigeria where things can be done. Now, on the other hand, we have people who are saying, let's keep praying. There's only much that we can do. We can only control the things that we can control. The ones that you cannot control, what would you do? If you believe in something, that's the period that you have to hold on to that thing. So we find ourselves, I'm not being motivational right now, but we find ourselves in situations where there's nothing we can do. So the only option for us that we believe in God, or if you believe in something, is to hold on to that thing. So I don't blame neither of the side. They all have, reasons, but then for me personally, we need prayers and we need things to work.
Okay, it's like what somebody said one time that if you go to better working countries, people don't pray for good health.
They do not. Systems
because
work.
The systems work. You don't have to pray. I need good health, sound, everything, because it works. You wouldn't even just fall sick and just die or something like that. So it's only Nigeria will pray for good health. We'll pray for this. And when we can actually, if you put structures in place, primary health care, centers, doctors, and all of that stuff, we wouldn't be needing to shout good health.
But then again,
but then I understand when people say. But Nigerians are always very hopeful. And then we have Nigeria is a very religious country, whether we like it or not. And so there's always the dependency on God and on spirituality and whatever it is you believe in. And they'd be like, oh, if things don't work, just give it to God and all of that stuff. And then people will be like, why give it to God when you can just do it yourself? So it's like,
but we should find a balance. That's what I'm saying.
So the balance here will now be as of making
hold
things
them to
work,
action.
Yes. We should be praying as well. So while we're putting in the work, I am a Christian, and I know the Bible does say faith without work is dead, right? So if you're praying and you're having faith, but you're not working towards it, you're putting things in place, you're wasting your time. So it has to be, side by side each other. And I think that's the divide that I'm, on, not sticking on the fence, but we have to make things work, and we have to pray as well.
Of course, we actually do.
All right, that's the much we can take on the What's Trending segment on the conversation. We're going to go on a quick break. I'm going to say big break because, yeah, the break is to bring you the big story. All right, the conversation continues shortly.
North to South Africa, East to West Africa, TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Watch us on television, channel 138 on TOS.
You're welcome back. It's still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. And this is the big story, the main crux of the program. And on our program today, we'll be talking about security. Now, agitations for state police have continued to gain acceptance given the deplorable state of security in virtually every part of the country. Now, security of lives and property is the primary responsibility of any government. In Nigeria, the security situation has continued to deteriorate, causing many worries, especially the seeming helplessness of government and its security agencies. Now, just recently, an armed gang in military uniforms raided and carried out a kidnapping operation in Kagara in Niger State, snatching 42 people, including 27 students, 3 teachers, and other relatives of school staff, according to Niger State officials. One of the students was said to have been killed by the assailant. Now, this morning, we speak to Ambassador Dr. Oamen Roy, a security expert, and he speaks to us from Lagos. Ambassador, good morning. You're welcome to the program.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. I hope I pronounced your name Oamen well.
Yeah, but you didn't add the surname, which is Igevia.
Oh, Igevia. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the correction there. A happy birthday, Ambassador, this morning, okay?
Happy birthday to you, Ambassador. Good morning.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us. Now, first on our list, what are your reactions to, many directives from the presidency, and yet nothing concrete seems to change? What are your reactions?
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I must say that the media has come up a lot. You have stretched out your tentacles to talk to people of concern, people in certain professions that can give relevant contributions to what is happening. And it has balanced information to a large extent and countered a lot of fake news. Now, let me come to your concerns. You see, all the things happening in Nigeria right now is an embarrassment to the inefficiency of the institutions. That's one. Two, the second thing that you need to look at is also the irresponsible processes that we take to quickly put in place government officials. If you look at our election processes, you will see that people are handing over offices to party lawyers that are not round pegs in round holes. And this is just to compensate them for whatever role they play to create an illegal election process. So at the end of the day, you see people coming into government just to satisfy themselves, satisfy party, and provide red carpets for us fathers. This has increased our insecurity level. It has been able to dilapidate the professionalism in all our agencies. It has caused confusion in our judiciary. Our judiciary has not been able to in judiciary, you must take a case to append another case. So there is no follow-up cases. The judges themselves are enshrined in one illegal process or the other, one corruption case or the other in EFCC. So all of them are afraid. They don't want to be investigated. So where we find ourselves today is that the government are in Abuja in their protected places making statements while the citizens are in the house exposed and becoming the victims. And it's an unfortunate situation.
Okay, Ambassador, so the focus this morning is on state policing, to counter insecurity in Nigeria. I know in recent time, the call for establishing or reintroducing state policing, for the issues of insecurity has been on the front burner. Do you think state policing is a panacea, for security threats in Nigeria at this time? Would it make any significant change?
I didn't get that.
Do you think state policing will make any significant change to this insecurity?
Okay.
Yes, situation we
Yeah.
have in Nigeria at this point.
Okay, this is like 5 years I've been talking about state policing, and I have still not seen the model I yearn for. Now, if you want to talk about state policing, you will understand that it's a policing system that will be fully funded by the states. And when you want something to be fully funded by a state, that means the state must have capacity. The state must also have a very faithful followership of its private sector, because it's the private sector that we also partner with the state government to achieve the funding. Then another thing that you need to see there is continuity. In our electoral political system today, there is no continuity. What if an APC governor started it? What if a PDP governor now comes on board? Will he not disparage it? So because of irresponsibility to continue, and we can't pay our teachers, we can't pay our civil servants. So many state governors now, they are saying the 30,000 minimum wage is too much for them to pay. So how will you sustain motivation for people you want to give arms to, people you want to give authority to? So it's a very glaring position that we are not matured enough for.
Okay, so you think it's not a good call at this point to reintroduce state policing? It's not a good call?
Come again.
So are you saying that it's not a good call at this point to reintroduce state policing?
There is no way we can go into state policing right now. Any state that we want to use as a model must first prove responsibility on the way they manage the local security system. Let's take Lagos State, where I'm calling you from. They have the Lagos State Neighborhood Watch. And when they started it, they bought bicycles for them, they bought vehicles and everything. After one governor left, another governor came. Everything dilapidated. And I was looking at it, I said, if these guys had arms and weapons have been given to them, who is going to stop them from turning the citizens to victims? So my call now is any state that we want to use as a model, the private sector must pledge loyalty, the state government must show loyalty, and we must see a pedigree of the government's ability to take care of teachers, civil servants, and other people that they are supposed to take care of and motivate before they are given that authority or approval to start a state police system.
Okay. So just to get your Ambassador, so if we're talking about the state being ready, the state's readiness to handle this responsibility, are you saying that we'll concentrate on the minimum wage bill thing, or is there another alternative, or is there an additional responsibility you're talking about?
For the 36 states in Nigeria right now, there is no state that is ready to run a state police system. None. as if you go around the whole of Nigeria, all the state governors, they are irresponsible financially. None of them has been able to put together a capable payment system. That is one area. The other area you need to understand is political inconsistency and continuity. So I still stand by my words of 5 years ago that we don't have that opportunity yet.
Okay, but if we as a nation is going to go by state policing, for going to say we're going ahead with establishing or introducing state policing as the panacea for security threats in the country, do you think we have the constitutional backing to do that? Because I do know that section 214 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been interpreted to imply that there can only be one Nigerian police force, and that's at the federal level, and the IGP has to control that. So we cannot even focus on state policing going by that part of the Constitution.
Yeah, you are very correct. But let me tell you, the Nigerian that we found ourselves. There are so many things going on now that is not in our Constitution. So many things. You will hear that it has the fiat of an executive decision. You will hear that it is for national interest. There are so many things that can override the Constitution. And that is what we have been running with, because they want to boycott intelligent processes of going through the first reading, second reading, and endorsing it as law. So because of that, you will now see that people are looking for ways to override the Constitution. So if any state has the mandate to run state police and have met these prerequisite paraphernalia, you will see that it will have the opportunity to also override that same Constitution. As I speak to you, our Constitution has been beaten and battered. So the only thing that we have now is anything that will work. So if it will work for any state, I assure you they will not wait for any constitution to approve it. They will override it with national interest, convention, or executive order.
Okay, Ambassador, aside from state policing that we're talking about, let's talk about insecurity. Do you think the strategies that the federal government has employed so far in trying to curb insecurity has been potent, or is there something else you think the government is not doing or the government should do, if we're not talking about state policing at the federal level?
Well, I would like to forgive you for using that word, that the strategy that the government has been implying so far. The word strategy, it means stratas of operation. And as I speak to you, this government is running a confused process system. They are putting the cart before the horse. If you look at a strategy for insecurity, you will be talking about upgrading your current status to meet the prevalent insecurity and vulnerability position. If you are looking at a security strategy, you will be looking at putting your military might at global standard. If you are looking at putting security in strategy, you will be looking at enriching your policing system with appropriate personnel, educated personnel that will have the loyalty and consistency to keep policing for the people. If you are looking at security strategy, the government will withdraw its hands from manipulating the position and promotion of officers of the armed forces and the paramilitary. The government should remove its hands from influencing the office of the Inspector General, the office of the Chief of Defense Staff. The government should remove its hands from all the things that the EFCC, the NDLEA is supposed to do. And by the time they can keep that, then we now begin to look at what strategy to place any of the agency at an advantage. As we are talking now, we are in a confused process, and it will not yield any results.
Okay, so to get you, just to be clear, are you saying that Nigeria as of today does not have, capable personnel to deal with the insecurity situation we're faced with right now?
Thank you. I love that question. Now, do you know that just recently a Nigerian has been assigned in the U.S. Navy to handle a warship that has missile capability? Do you know that in the global medical platforms that Nigerians are making waves in discoveries and inventions? Do you know that it's a Nigerian that is creating the drones and the unaudited aerial devices that the military of the world are using? Do you know that Nigerians are positioned in strategic field operations, in combat lines, in the U.S. Army, the British Army, and they are making waves with integrity and performance? As I speak to you, those Nigerians were born from Nigeria. They were not born in abroad. And because of what we have, because of our abuse of power, we have not been able to see capable hands that can run the system. Because in every system, there are areas of operation. And once one leg is bad, the other leg cannot run alone.
Okay, so what would be your, if you were to prefer solution, workable solution to the security challenges issue we have in Nigeria as of today? What would it be?
The solutions are everywhere. The solutions are bound. My son is 14. If you call my son and ask him, what do you think are the solutions that will help Nigeria? The first thing he told me is integrity. He said Nigerians should have integrity, both those in government and those out of government. I'm a retired military veteran. I retired from the Nigerian Army. I'm employing over 500 people right now. I went to renew my tax clearance. Officers of the office in that area, they are asking for money. People in NSITF, they are asking you for money. Everybody is asking you for money everywhere. So the government needs integrity. The people, we need integrity in everything that we do. Then the security agencies, they should ensure that they focus on protecting the people, not the elite. Most of our police officers today, their job is to protect the elite until an elite is harassed, kidnapped, or whatever, before you will see swift action. So we should look at all those angles.
Okay. Another one before I let you go. I don't know that when it comes to issue of security or insecurity in Nigeria, the focus is usually on the Nigerian military. But we have other, paramilitaries and other security forces. How do you think we can fully harness, all of our security forces, especially the Nigerian police force? How do you think we can harness all of that towards combating, insecurity in the country?
There is a lot of voice feedback. I can't really hear you. A lot of people are talking behind you.
Oh, okay. I apologize for that. My question was that I do know that when it comes to the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, a lot of, the focus is usually on the Nigerian military. But we do have, other paramilitaries and other security forces, especially the Nigeria police. How do you think we can further harness, all of these security forces we have to, combat insecurity in Nigeria? But I'm more particular about the Nigeria police first.
Yes, and when I speak on this aspect of lack of cohesion and synergy and job description for our security agencies, I used to blame the military, and people will think that because I'm from the military, I should not blame the military. Let me tell you, in the years of military regime that we have, the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, they were in power, and they made sure no other agency has power to speak or to act. And that was where the dilapidation in the policing system started from. Now, after the civilians came on board, instead of them to empower the police, they started to empower thugs and hoodlums so that they can have a superior firepower over their political opponents. And because they also want to intimidate the police, they went to make friends with the military. So you will have the head of Senate as a retired military general, Ministry of Defense, retired military general, president. They will be running around looking for one retired general to be president. Everything they need a general. Now again, they just put Mawa as head of NDLEA. Hello. Who told you that it's only a military retired that can head an agency. There are people that can head the NDLA. Does the NDLA even need a military head to act? And now see that the military is also in power now as the president, the Honorable Minister of Defense and all that. The military is still imposing himself to take over insecurity situations that are beyond its scope, below its scope. So when the military comes in to quell what is beyond the police, why not withdraw? Why not give yourself attention to other issues that carry the national interest on insecurity levels? Why not allow the police, the NDLA, the DSS, the immigration, why not allow them to handle their own issues? Because we have been able to disable their relevance. We have put the military in power, and right now the military is threatened. Once the military can be disabled, Nigeria is finished.
All right, thank you so much, Ambassador Ohamian, for coming on the show this morning. That was quite insightful. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Yeah, and a happy birthday again.
And a happy birthday again.
Well,
yeah, thank you. I'm 51 today.
Oh,
thank
that's
you,
amazing. Happy 51st birthday. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, bye.
Have a good day. That was Ambassador Dr. Ohamian Royal, security expert, spoke to us from Lagos, Nigeria. That's Southwest Nigeria. And thank you guys for joining the show this morning. That's so much you can take on the conversation this morning. But do not forget, you can be a part of the conversation by following us across all social media platforms, TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, check out our YouTube channel. It's TOS TV Network on YouTube. Also, check out our website at www.tostvnetwork.com for stories that cut across facets, country and region, everything. Just check out our website www.tostvnetwork.com. I am Adesua Tree.
And I am Merciful Ajinimo. Do have a wonderful day ahead.